Ward, get to your fighter. This is not a drill. Commander Rachel Steele's voice crackled over the comm, urgency lacing every word. Lucas's heart pounded. This was it, the moment he both dreaded and knew would come. Lucas Ward stepped off the shuttle onto the orbital platform, the vastness of space stretching out around him. His heart pounded as he took in the bustling scene. Technicians scurried to make last-minute adjustments to fighter ships, while officers barked orders and checked systems. The tension was palpable, a prelude to the impending conflict. Commander Rachel Steele, a figure of composed authority, approached him. "Ward, welcome to the front line," she said, her gaze steady. "We're in for a fight, and we need every pilot we can get." Lucas swallowed hard. "I won't let you down, Commander." Rachel's eyes softened slightly. "I know it's a lot to take in, but you've been trained for this. Trust your instincts and stay focused." He nodded, though his mind raced with doubts. Fresh out of the academy, Lucas felt the weight of expectations pressing down on him. His family had a long history of military service, and the pressure to uphold their legacy was immense. His father's voice echoed in his mind, a mix of pride and warning: "Make us proud, but don't forget to stay alive." As Lucas made his way to the barracks, he received a message from his mother, a retired pilot. Her voice was warm yet firm. "Lucas, remember your training. We believe in you. Stay safe and do your best." The message brought a fleeting sense of comfort, but the looming threat of the Galactic Empire's fleet was hard to ignore. Lucas found his bunk and sat down, staring at the wall. The reality of the situation settled over him like a heavy blanket. He was about to face an enemy that had brought countless worlds to their knees. A soft chime signaled an incoming alert. Lucas grabbed his helmet and headed to the briefing room, where Commander Steele was outlining the defense strategy. The room was filled with pilots and officers, all wearing expressions of grim determination. Rachel's voice was clear and unwavering. "The Empire's fleet is approaching. Our mission is to hold the line and protect Earth at all costs. Stick to your assignments, and we'll get through this." Lucas listened intently, absorbing every detail. As the briefing ended, he felt a hand on his shoulder. It was Lieutenant Harris, a seasoned pilot with a reputation for staying calm under pressure. "You'll do fine, Ward," Harris said with a reassuring smile. "Just remember, it's not about being fearless. It's about pushing through the fear." Lucas nodded, grateful for the encouragement. He suited up, the familiar weight of his flight gear grounding him. As he made his way to the hangar, the alarm blared through the station. The time had come. The hangar was a hive of activity, with ships being prepped for launch. Lucas climbed into his fighter, his hands trembling slightly. He took a deep breath, trying to steady himself. The canopy closed, cocooning him in the cockpit's confined space. "Ward, get to your fighter. This is not a drill." Commander Steele's voice crackled over the comm, urgency in her tone. Lucas's heart raced as the engines roared to life. He gripped the controls, his training kicking in. "Just breathe. Stay focused," he muttered to himself. "You can do this." The alarm blared through the orbital platform, shaking Ensign Lucas Ward from his uneasy sleep. He scrambled out of his bunk, heart pounding. Today was the day. The Galactic Empire's fleet had arrived, their massive ships casting ominous shadows over Earth's defenses. He rushed to his locker, hands trembling as he suited up. The weight of his helmet felt heavier than ever. As he entered the hangar, the scene was chaotic. Pilots and crew members were dashing about, making last-minute preparations. The air buzzed with tension. Lucas spotted Commander Rachel Steele standing on a raised platform, her sharp eyes scanning the room. She exuded calm authority, her presence a beacon of reassurance amidst the turmoil. "All units, report to your stations." Rachel's voice rang out over the intercom. "We have incoming. This is not a drill. I repeat, this is not a drill." Lucas's heart raced as he climbed into the cockpit of his fighter. He took a deep breath, trying to steady his nerves. This was his first real combat mission, and the fear gnawed at him. He glanced at a photo to the dashboard, a picture of his family. Their legacy weighed heavily on him. "Lucas, you've got this," he whispered to himself. "Just breathe, stay focused." The launch bay doors opened, revealing the vastness of space. Lucas's fighter catapulted into the dark expanse, joining the swarm of Earth's defense fleet. His comm crackled to life. "Ensign Ward, this is Commander Steele. Remember, our goal is to hold the line and protect the planet. Trust your training. Steele out." The first wave of enemy fighters descended upon them, sleek and deadly. The battle erupted in a symphony of laser fire and explosions. Lucas gripped the controls, his knuckles white. He dodged and weaved through the onslaught, narrowly avoiding a direct hit. Panic clawed at him, threatening to take over. "Focus, Lucas." "Focus," he muttered. A hostile fighter locked onto him, its lasers homing in. Lucas's mind raced, recalling his training. He executed a tight barrel roll, evading the attack by mere inches. The maneuver brought him a moment of clarity. He couldn't afford to let fear paralyze him. "Stay sharp," he told himself. "You can do this." Lucas spotted an enemy ship targeting one of his comrades. Without hesitation, he swooped in, firing a burst of lasers that tore through the enemy fighter, sending it spiraling into oblivion. Relief and disbelief washed over him. He'd made his first kill. "Nice shot, Ward." A voice cheered over the comm. It was Lieutenant Harris, a seasoned pilot. "Keep it up, kid." Bolstered by the praise, Lucas found a rhythm amidst the chaos. He engaged enemy fighters with renewed determination, each successful maneuver boosting his confidence. Yet, the fear lingered, a constant reminder of the stakes. As the battle raged on, Lucas realized the sheer scale of the enemy fleet. They were vastly outnumbered. His mind flashed to his mother's words of encouragement. He couldn't let her down. He couldn't let Earth down. "All units, regroup at coordinates Alpha 7, Commander Steele's voice commanded. "We need to tighten our defenses." Lucas maneuvered his fighter to the designated point, joining the remaining fighters. The enemy pressed on, relentless. But something had shifted within Lucas. His fear had not vanished, but it was now tempered with resolve. "Steele to Ward. How are you holding up?" I'm here, Commander," Lucas replied, his voice steady. "Ready to fight." "Good to hear, Ward. Let's show them what we're made of." The battle raged around the orbital platform, a chaotic ballet of fire and metal. Explosions lit up the void as Earth's defenders fought desperately against the relentless onslaught of the Galactic Empire. Lucas Ward's fighter weaved through the chaos, his heart pounding with each evasive maneuver. "Ward, watch your 6. Rachel Steele's voice cut through the static in his comms. Lucas rolled his fighter, narrowly avoiding an enemy missile. His hands were slick with sweat, fear gnawing at the edges of his focus. "Commander, we're barely holding them off," Lucas reported, his voice betraying a hint of the fear he felt. Rachel's voice remained calm and authoritative. "We have a plan. We're setting up a defensive grid using the orbital platforms. It's risky, but it might just turn the tide." Lucas swallowed hard. "What do you need me to do?" Rachel's response was immediate. "We need a pilot to execute a diversionary maneuver, drawing the enemy's fire away from the platforms. I'm assigning you the task." A cold shiver ran down Lucas's spine. "Commander, I don't know if I'm ready for this." "You've shown you have what it takes, Ward. Trust yourself. Trust your training. We believe in you." Rachel's words were steady, but there was an underlying urgency. Lucas took a deep breath, steeling himself. "Understood. I'll do it." He keyed in the coordinates and accelerated, his fighter cutting a path through the battle. Enemy ships swarmed, but Lucas kept his focus, his determination overcoming his fear. He remembered his mother's encouragement and the sacrifices of his comrades. This was his moment to make a difference. As he approached the designated area, the enemy fire intensified. Lucas's hands flew over the controls, executing sharp turns and evasive maneuvers. His ship shook with near misses, but he pressed on, each maneuver more daring than the last. "Ward, you're doing great. Just a little longer," Rachel's voice encouraged him. Lucas could see the platforms aligning, their defensive grids powering up. He had to keep the enemy's attention just a bit longer. His fighters spun and weaved, a beacon of hope amidst the chaos. Then, an enemy ace locked onto him, the red targeting reticle flashing in his HUD. Lucas's heart raced. He needed to shake them off. With a burst of inspiration, he cut his engines, letting the enemy ship overshoot. Restarting his engines, he fired at the enemy, scoring a direct hit. The enemy ship exploded in a brilliant flash. Defensive grid online. Rachel's voice was triumphant. "Ward, get out of there, now." Lucas didn't need to be told twice. He banked hard, racing away from the platforms as they unleashed a coordinated barrage of energy beams. The enemy fleet was caught off guard, their formation breaking under the onslaught. The tide of the battle turned. Earth's defenders rallied, pressing the advantage. Lucas watched as the enemy ships began to retreat, the defensive grid wreaking havoc on their ranks. Relief washed over him, but he knew the fight wasn't over. "Ward, you did it," Rachel said, her voice filled with pride. "We're pushing them back." Lucas allowed himself a small smile. "Thank you, Commander. I couldn't have done it without your belief in me." The battle was over, but the echoes of conflict lingered in the air. Ensign Lucas Ward stepped out of his fighter, his legs shaky with exhaustion and adrenaline. The once bustling hangar was now filled with damaged ships and weary pilots. Medics rushed around, tending to the wounded. Lucas's thoughts were a whirlwind of relief, grief, and disbelief. He had survived. Commander Rachel Steele approached him, her expression a mix of pride and solemnity. "Ward, you did exceptionally well out there. Your actions turned the tide." Lucas nodded, still processing the enormity of what had transpired. "Thank you, Commander. I couldn't have done it without your guidance." Rachel placed a hand on his shoulder. "Take some time to rest and reflect. You've earned it." As Rachel moved on to debrief other pilots, Lucas made his way to the memorial wall. Names of fallen comrades were etched into the metal, a stark reminder of the cost of war. He traced his fingers over the names of friends from the academy, their faces flashing in his mind. A soft voice interrupted his thoughts. "They would be proud of you, Lucas." He turned to see Lieutenant Sarah Patel, a fellow pilot and friend. Her eyes were red from tears, but her expression was resolute. "You did what had to be done. We all did." Lucas sighed, the weight of the day pressing down on him. "I just wish it hadn't come to this. So many lives lost." Sarah nodded. "It's the price of freedom. But because of you, we have a chance to rebuild and keep fighting. Don't forget that." Her words offered some comfort. Lucas took a deep breath and straightened up. "You're right. We have to keep going." Later, as Earth's forces regrouped and began tending to the wounded, a somber yet hopeful atmosphere settled over the orbital platform. Engineers worked tirelessly to repair the damaged ships, while medics and support staff provided care and comfort to the injured. Lucas found a quiet corner and sat down, his mind replaying the events of the battle. He had faced his fears head-on, and though the fear hadn't disappeared, it no longer controlled him. He realized he had grown from the uncertain cadet he once was into a confident and capable pilot. As he reflected, Rachel approached him again, this time with a slight smile. "Ward, you've shown remarkable courage and growth. You've earned your place among the stars." Lucas looked up at her, feeling a swell of pride and gratitude. "Thank you, Commander. I couldn't have done it without your belief in me." Rachel nodded. "Remember this moment. It's the beginning of a new chapter for all of us. The Empire may have retreated, but they'll be back, and when they return, we'll be ready." Determination filled Lucas's heart. "I'm ready for whatever comes next. We'll keep fighting." As Earth began to rebuild, Lucas committed himself to the ongoing struggle against the Empire. He knew the road ahead would be long and fraught with challenges, but he was no longer the uncertain cadet. He was a warrior, ready to defend his home with everything he had.